Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye, and I post beginning level acrylic painting tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So make sure to hit subscribe so you can join the fun and paint along. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Alright, so this week it is New Year's Eve week, and we're doing a very fun New Year's Eve themed painting today of a simple silhouette of a clock tower with some fun fireworks in the background. So I have my 4 standard brushes for today's class that I use in most of my videos. These 4 brushes come in a kit with 4 sizes. It's not important that you get the exact same kit, although it is handy that this kit has all 4. But you want the general sizes and shapes here of these brushes. So I have a large square wash brush. I'm using a 3/4 inch. And then I have a medium-sized pointed brush. This is a size 10. And then I have 2 small detail brushes, a size 3 and a size 3/0. I'm gonna get those in the water cup off the side of the screen. I also, for today's class, because we're gonna do a little bit of splattering for some stars, I have an old sacrificial toothbrush that we're going to use as well. To see a full materials list of everything that you need to paint along, check the description box below. The colors that we have to start with today's background step are just some black and white, as well as some violet, some of my favorite phthalo green, and a little bit of ultramarine blue. All right, I think we're ready to go ahead and jump on in. All right, so I'm gonna start with my largest brush for the background step today, and we're gonna do a few things with this. But first, I'm going to sort of block out where I'm going to have my fireworks. And I'm gonna do that by taking the colors that I'm going to use for my fireworks, which I'm going to use this phthalo green and also purple. And I'm going to go kind of offset in the center here a little bit with just some what I call crazy brush strokes, because you're moving your brush all around like crazy, getting lots of good texture there. And then I'm going to grab some light purple and do the same. Just rinsing my brush in between colors. Grab a little bit of light purple, not too light. I'm gonna go right next door here. All right, and then we're gonna pull the whole background sort of around these first 2 shapes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to blend up first a gray. Don't go too dark with your gray, because we wanna have a nice contrast later of our silhouette. So we don't want to go too dark. A little bit of white into our paint. I'm going to bring that right up to my purple. And we are actually going to blend it into the purple a little bit. This could be a play. This could be sort of like a back and forth. So you might need to add a little gray, and then we'll add a little purple to help those 2 colors blend. And we're gonna do the same thing with our teal color, turquoise. So that gray is gonna go right in between there as well. Working on our sky. You want a little bit of variation there in your colors. So there might be even just some darker black kind of sneaking in from the top here as the night sky. We're gonna pull that down a little bit to reach our colors. I'm gonna bring my gray in a little bit. I don't wanna lose sight of my colors though. That's the sky, maybe on a little bit of clouds, reflecting the light from the fireworks. A little bit maybe of a dark black here sneaking in from the corner. Bringing the gray just about halfway down. Looking good. And if you need to, you can grab any of those lighter colors again. Help you blend a little bit further out. That looks pretty good though. Just want a little peekaboo of those colors still. And then right along our horizon line, I'm gonna do more of a gray blue. We're mostly not gonna see this color, so we're gonna cover it with some silhouette. So make sure to bring it far enough up. And this is a fun step because things can get a little crazy and a little messy, and that is okay. Fireworks are a little crazy and a little messy. Just working on the sky with this part. And we do want to blend a little bit of gray into our blue as well. A little bit of color variation is nice too, just from not over mixing your colors. Okay, you can see we get a nice blend there from the blue to the gray. And that blue will kind of come up a little bit around our colors as well. A little bit of gray in the blue too. So we're working with a night sky here, but it's a lot more than just black because that's our silhouette. So we have pretty light colors for our night sky because it's all illuminated. And typically fireworks here are, oh well, I guess it's a midnight firework, so it's not shortly after sunset like many other displays throughout the year are. This would be midnight, but it's gonna be maybe like a foggy situation, and so they're illuminating the sky, the fireworks. Somewhat inspired by London and Big Ben for this, so we'll assume that it's a cloudy night there. All right, that looks good. Let's go ahead and let this layer dry now. We'll come back and add our stars. I want to do a little bit more blue over here first though. All right, that looks pretty good for a background. All right, lots more to come though. A little bit more blue. I like the blue up in the sky too. Okay. All right, looking good. Let's step away now and we'll let this layer dry fully and we'll come back with a whole bunch more. I'll see everyone in a few. All right, that first layer is dry, and before I switch over my colors, I'm going to do some of my splattering with the sacrificial toothbrush that we have. And I am going to just use white. If you already changed your palette, just go ahead and put some white is all we need. And the reason that we wait for this layer to dry first is that if you put the white splatters on the dark paint, wet paint, then it tends to bleed a little bit, which I don't like. I like nice crispy stars. Let's take a little bit of white and add some water to it. I'm using my largest brush for this, but it's really just as a tool right now, so whatever you like. You can do the medium size. It's another good mixer brush, and I'm just watering that down. So adding a little bit of water and then just blending it up all nice and smooth. And then I'm going to retire that brush, grab the toothbrush, and I'm gonna dip it into my watered down white. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of splattering up top my canvas here for some nice stars. Less is more with this. Just mostly in the corners, and then we'll go a little bit further down, just like so. And then I'm gonna grab one of my smaller brushes, and I'm also going to sort of dip in some white can be that watered down white too. And I'm just gonna add a few larger stars. Okay, now I'm just gonna give those like 2 minutes to dry. They shouldn't take too long. And we'll switch out our palette here too, and then we'll jump into our silhouette, our beautiful clock tower, and then also our fireworks. All right, let's switch over and take a very quick breather, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a completely dry background layer now with our cute splatters added. I rinsed my brushes and got some fresh water, and I got some fresh colors on my piece of palette paper here as well. So I have some more black and white, and then some more of my purple, aka violet, as well as some more ultramarine, phthalo green, and a little bit of cadmium yellow. We don't need any more blue, unless you want to add some. You could need some more ultramarine too. But let's go ahead now and jump back into our foreground step. And I want to sort of block out our tower, so the most important part. And I'm going to do that starting with white and starting in the center, actually, with a nice circular shape. And I am just going to go a little bit further down than halfway. And start with my circular shape. And I'm gonna do a couple quick passes to try to get a good circular shape here. But feel free to use something circular in your house. If you've tried a few times and you're just not getting the nice circle, it can be really satisfying to use something circular and just trace around it. And then you get the perfect circle. But sometimes I like to freehand things as well, because I'm lazy like that. All right, and then we're gonna build from around that circle. And I'm just gonna start by doing a square around that circle. And I'm still using my white, even though this is eventually gonna be black. Sketching with white like we sort of would sketch with a pencil, but we're just sticking with paint. And same idea with the square. You could try to find something square in your house if you need help with that, or use a ruler to help with the straight edges. But there's also nothing wrong with freehanding things and getting that sort of rustic hand-painted look, because that's what we're going for. And we can adjust things as we fill in our silhouette as well. So if things aren't quite how they need to be, we can make some adjustments. And then I'm going to come in a little bit to do the bottom part of my tower, like so. So I've come in maybe about a 1/4 inch or so from the outside in. And then on top here, I'm gonna do one little rectangle on top of my square, long ways, like that. And then I'm going to make a little roof for that rectangle. And then I'm gonna do a perpendicular line, building my way up here from the top down, or from the bottom up rather. Or you could do from the top down too if you wanted. And adjusting things with my white before we come in for the actual silhouette. And then on top here, I'm going to have another rectangle, a little bit bigger this time, taller. All right, and then we're just gonna have a triangle on top, like a little chapeau hat. And it's going to have a line all the way up top too, and go off of the canvas. We wanna be sort of the focal point here of the face of the clock tower, the actual clock part. right, those are going to be our different shapes. Let's go ahead and fill them in with the colors that they're going to need to be. And this is going to maybe look a little strange at first, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some white, and what I'm doing is I'm taking this white in where our yellow is going to be. The yellow is sort of like the light coming from the building and the light illuminated on the clock face. But since we have such dark colors, we need to block them out with white first before we add our yellow. We'll do a second coat with a light yellow white. And that will be the color that we're actually sticking with, but right now we're just blocking out these shapes with white. It's going to make the yellow a lot more opaque than just trying to do the yellow on the blue, and it also will create sort of like a green color, which we don't necessarily want if it reacts and blends with the blue too much. Both of our rectangles here are also going to be filled in with white. And it's also going to be then light yellow with our second coat. Okay, so we're blocking out our shapes that are going to be these beautiful lights that are the main focal point of today's painting. And you can sort of adjust your shape a little bit as you fill in with white too, every step. Look at your whole piece, make any adjustments that you might need to. Okay, so both of these longer rectangles getting filled in with white, and then we're going to do the rest in black. But that'll be sort of like a mid layer, and then we'll have some final details to add as well. And the yellow, of course. Second coat of yellow, second coat in these areas with yellow, and then a few more black details too. But let's grab our black. I'm going to take that in right on top of my white line. And hopefully you have enough contrast. You can see up here where it's pretty dark, I don't have very much contrast. And for these smaller details, if you feel more comfortable, feel free to use one of the smaller brushes. I'm using the second to smallest, but you can use the smallest one. Definitely one of the two smaller brushes. It's gonna look a little strange right now, but you gotta trust the process. All right. And I need to bring that a little bit further up to match the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to paint my little roof in with black. Trying to keep all my lines pretty straight as best as I can. No such thing as perfection. Would be wise to probably use a smaller brush in these tiny corners, but we do have an opportunity to fine-tune everything again. And then this is going to be black, and this part down here is also going to be black. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in, and that'll be most of the hard work here over in our tower. Clock tower. Fun fact, Big Ben is the name of the clock itself and not the whole building. Recently learned that. It's a friend from over the pond. Trying to get a nice clean edge around that circle. And where it touches the white areas, that will be yellow. We're gonna have some black on top of the yellow too. Much easier to go from the background to the foreground than to try to paint out each little section though. We always pretty much go from the background to the foreground with acrylic painting. Not always, usually. Remember, the rules are more just guidelines. All right. Trying to get a nice clean straight edge, covering my white. Easier said than done. Good dexterity practice though for everyone painting along. Practice, practice, practice. They say it takes 10,000 hours to master something, but you'd be surprised how quickly that can add up. I think I've done at least 30, because I've been painting a really long time. A couple hours a week since I was about 4. Practice comes with passion though too, so if it's fun for you and you enjoy, just keep doing it, and then all of a sudden you're just better. It kind of creeps up on you. All right, very satisfying. Get the last of this shape all filled in. We're looking good here with our main clock tower. We'll work on our fireworks a little bit. Okay. Go step away now. Let that dry so that I can come back and add my light yellow. But before we do our fireworks even, since we have black still in hand, I'm gonna do a couple little like rooftops, just real simple, of just maybe some buildings down here that we can just see the tops of. Just to add a little something interesting to look at down here. All right, any sort of shape will do. And we could even do maybe like some background shapes too, like a rectangle back here. And maybe even some of those are like buildings with fireplaces. Really, you can do whatever you like. Whatever feels right. All right. That's looking good. We have our little structure. And now we're going to work on our beautiful fireworks. So I'm going to start with my light green one. And I'm going to do a pretty vibrant green. I'm going to go right in the center here. And I'm going to start to add my firework shape, which sort of looks like a palm tree. And you're going to come out from the center where it explodes, but then you have the gravity pulling the colors down and the explosive materials in the firework. And we're going to do that with a saturated color, but then also a light color. We're going to come pretty far out with the light color, going right on top of where our cloud is illuminated. Maybe even a little bit of extra sort of trailing down. That's looking pretty cute though. Okay, and then same steps with our purple. So we'll take a vibrant purple first. Still some white in it, but you want to be able to see it here on the purple background. Pick that center point and then every direction from the center, it's going to be exploding out. I don't even wash my brush in between the lighter colors. So you want a little bit of that blending. Little tiny brush strokes coming out from the sides and then trailing down. I really have like the lightest texture ever on my brush. That looks pretty cute. All right, I want to try to get one more coat of this light white yellow here on our areas that are going to need it. Let's see if we're dry enough. Looks pretty good. So this time I'm just taking my light yellow, so just yellow and white together, which I just realized sort of makes this like Mardi Gras colors. So that could be a fun one for Mardi Gras too, even though it's inspired by England. It doesn't have to be. A lot of cities have clock towers, so that was kind of the inspiration too, since it's neat that New Year's is for the most part celebrated all around the world, rather than a lot of holidays that are sort of country specific. So this is a totally customizable city clock tower for whatever city that you may live in or love that has one. Okay, I'm just filling in the yellow in those shapes that I had blocked out with white from before. And we'll be ready for our black details, which will pull everything together here on our clock tower. I want to mention, if you are painting along today, I would love to see your work. And it's the best part of my day, really, to see you guys painting along and having fun with the classes. And I've created a Facebook group called the Art Club where you can post that so that I can see it. And it's free to join, and there's a link below. It's called the Art Club. And you can post your art from painting along with me or just from whatever you got going on, whatever you're creating. I want to see it. That group is growing pretty good sized. It's very fun to see everyone's creativity. All right, one last little quick drying break, and we'll come in for the final details. All right, I'll see everyone in another few minutes. All right, we're back with final touches. And I'm gonna jump back into my tower with black, and I'm going to still be using my second to smallest detail brush. I'm gonna use the small guy too, but for these first few things, I'm gonna stick with this one. And I'm going to close off these areas with black first. Just a straight line there. And we can do that down here too. All right. And then I'm gonna come from the center here and do one line here. About a brush stroke's width, and then cut those in half. And in half again. Okay. You can also clean up that shape a little bit if you need to with your black too while you're at it. And we're going to try to make each black line about the same width and about equidistant from each other. All right, looking good. And then up top, a little bit easier. Just gonna do one big one right here in the center. And then break that in half. Again, we're trying to get all of our black lines about the same size. Alrighty, looking good. Fine-tuning anything that you need to. Pretty cute. I'm gonna grab a little bit of like a medium gray really quick. And I'm going to bring some highlights here into my clock tower. It's a little dark. I'm gonna highlight just some of the sort of straight areas. So all throughout, and then if you go a little too heavy-handed anywhere, you can grab some more black and slim it out a little bit, like so. Straighten anything that you might need to. It's pretty easy to work with these silhouettes. You can adjust things pretty simply, just with more black. Okay, so slimmed things down a little bit. And we might as well take a little bit of highlight gray into our little city area that we've made here for ourselves. However that would look. All right, and then of course, the most important part is going to be our Roman numerals, which is going to be a good refresher on Roman numerals. Let me make sure I have everything correct. This is definitely one of those steps where our tiny, tiny brush comes in handy. I'm going to start at the top with 12 o'clock, of course, which is going to be an X and two I's. I'm going to try to center that right at the top. And we're gonna go pretty small with these numbers. Okay, or letters rather. Letters that represent numbers. Okay, and then what's gonna be 3 o'clock, I'm gonna do that first. 1, 2, 3. And then I'll go ahead and go in between with my 1 and my 2. It's a little bit easier, I feel, to block things out that way. And then down here we'll have our 6 o'clock, which is going to be V, so V is for 5, and then 1 is for 1. VI, and then here we'll have just a V for 5 o'clock. And then 4 o'clock we'll have our I before the V. You gotta do subtraction. Math required. Okay, and then we're gonna have VII, but let's do 9 o'clock, just going to be 1 before our X being 10. Okay, and then let me see, V and 3 I's. That one's a little tight. Okay, V and 2 I's. Keeping everything just horizontal so it's easy to read and easy to paint. And then we have X and XI. Okie doke. Pretty cute. A little clock tower, and then of course we have to have our center point here in the middle. We're just going to do a little circle, and then we'll do our hands of the clock, and it's going to be midnight. So I'm just going to have 2 hands, both pretty much right at midnight. Pretty cute. You can do any other final little touches that you'd like to add to your painting, but that is all the instruction that we have for this week's video. So let me know what you thought of today's painting in the comments section below. I wanted to keep it really easy for everyone this week to have something fun to do for New Year's. I hope you enjoyed painting along. I would love to see you over in the art club. And that is all the instruction that we have for this week. So until next time, Happy New Year.